I was a few months shy of 14 in the summer of 1974. Licking my wounds from a first love that ended in heartbreak, I retreated to my comic books, mostly out of habit. They always seemed to provide answers for me, and this time I kind of thought they did, but in a different place. This time I found it in the back. Amidst the ads for the X-ray specs and the backyard submarines, I found my answer, or what I thought it was. I was mesmerized as I was looking at the ad. A real-life flesh and blood superhero. I saw a way of protecting myself against pain. I figured if I coated my bones with layers of muscle, nothing could reach me. Plus, an extra bonus from these bodybuilding courses, the ad also said that I could become someone special. At roughly the same time I became aware of the world of muscles, a book was published, and for the very first time, opened up the small subculture of bodybuilding to the mainstream. The author, Charles Gaines, made these guys seem human, dedicated, and in a way almost noble.
The book was a national bestseller. It sold over 6 million copies in the first 2 years, which was a phenomenal number of copies to be sold for a book about something as outre as bodybuilding. And they all worked out at Gold's.
In the book, he wrote about a tiny gym in a funky part of America's third largest city. It was a section of that city that was seen as outcast, derelict, offbeat, and eccentric as the people who train there. That section was Venice, and the city was Los Angeles, and the name of the gym was Gold's. Only an environment like that can make a place like this possible.
Well, what it was like was magic. It was better than any reality that I would have imagined.
The camaraderie back in the gym in those days, everybody hung together, there was no animosity, everybody was friends.
We were like a whole family.
This was a collection of people who loved what they were doing, and it was almost like a church to them.
And immediately getting in there, you can feel the vibration, the atmosphere.
The main concern was creating an atmosphere and an environment where people could do at the top level what they wanted to do.
And that alone immediately feel like getting a pump before you touch the weights.
Frank Lloyd Wright said that it was his contention the United States was tilted, and everything loose ends up here. And I think the loosest of the loose all ended up in Venice.
My first impressions of Venice, California was, I don't like it.
Venice was a different world.
It was a 24/7 party.
A bodybuilder, nobody noticed. He was just one of the odd assortment of fruits and nuts.
Clowns, mimes, people rollerblading, all kinds of parties on the beach. And the bodybuilders were right in the middle of the mix of it, too.
And that's where the magic really started.
I thought I was in La La Land.
Something came to me. At that time, Gold's Gym never had a t-shirt.
As notoriety grew from the book, the close-knit group had fashioned a flag of sorts.
I think we ordered initially about half a dozen t-shirts. I thought, who would want a Gold's Gym t-shirt? Ken Waller came up with the idea.
Actually, Rick Drasin, a lot of people don't know this, made a drawing for me. Get yourself a Mr. Clean bottle and make me a drawing of Mr. Clean with a barbell.
I had designed the Gold's Gym logo in 1973 on a napkin in Zucchi's Deli with Ken Waller. I think Ken Sprague might have been there.
He says, I want the t-shirt to look like this, except with a barbell.
So Rick made a bald-headed man look sort of like Mr. Clean with a lot more muscle, and he put a barbell in the middle of it, and the barbell was straight. I said, everything's good, Rick, except we're just going to bend the barbell.
And sure enough, that goofy old Gold's Gym logo was born.
And that's where the original logo came from that we put on the Gold's Gym stuff.
And so they started selling more and more, and it became, over the years, the largest selling logo in the world.
And from that point on, that propelled it into the general public.
And it seemed like the world was starting to take notice.
Stay Hungry, an extraordinary new film that takes you into a fascinating world.
The whole tenor of things changed after the filming of Pumping Iron.
After Pumping Iron, we were the darlings.
Even as Arnold, the sport's most famous star, had bid goodbye to competition, the gym and the sport itself carried on.
That transition happened pretty quickly.
It had a lot of the same feeling of Venice, but probably at 3 times the square feet, because it was Santa Monica, was beginning to have its own tourist trade. It was a funky place.
It was a bigger building, taller, longer, wider, deeper.
The storefront in Santa Monica, so you had all of these people.
A lot of people would come by and look in and, watch the bodybuilders.
Everybody wanted to feed on the energy.
But that Gold's Gym on 2nd Street was a pretty iconic gym.
Because again, it was a magic place.
And the gym's owner, Ken Sprague, dreamed up more amazing ways to promote the gym and the sport itself.
The Mr. America Day parade took bodybuilding into another dimension.
Ken had called, said he wanted to put on a parade.
With that parade, I wanted to present bodybuilding in a fun way.
I don't know if it's very well known, but nothing like this had ever been done before. And Ken was a pioneer.
He had visions, this guy. Ken was like a promoter.
Puts on great shows. He's an entertainer. He's another P.T. Barnum.
They told me we're gonna climb some elephants.
He says, hey, you ever rode an elephant? I said, no, but I'm all for it.
I feel like Sabu. I was actually acting. I thought I was in India.
Ken Sprague put on a show that will never be matched. It was a spectacle.
Elephants in the street, bodybuilders on elephants, marching bands.
He put me up on that float. I wanted to be on the elephant. He said, Bill, no, you want to be on the float.
And the parade was a good parade, and it was down the most important part.
That 1977 parade was one of the most fantastic parades in the state of California. It's one of the best.
Being there for even a part of that golden era is one of my fondest memories. And when newer generations wonder what all the fuss is about, I could tell them history from a front row seat.
Was it like any other